Hey everyone, welcome to the Game Week 6 um, team selection video. It's going to be a big video because we're using a shuffle, or as you probably know, a wild card this week. Actually, I just want to put it on team view so you can see how the team's actually lining up. But yeah, so we have our team selection video, and I have already made a bunch of transfers on the shuffle, and I have a very different looking team. Things have not been going good, especially last week. Um, First of all, I didn't mean in the review video to make it like sound like I was going to quit or anything. I'm definitely not going to do that, regardless of what happens or what anyone would say. I don't think anyone was trying to be rude and just kind of making a joke when they said they should just do the opposite of what I'm doing. Because if you have been doing the opposite of what I've been doing, you're probably doing pretty well right now. So make sure you take a look at which players I'm bringing in and get those players out of your team as soon as possible. But no, thanks for everyone that's pressing on, saying, and continuing to support. I really appreciate that. And one of the best ways you can continue to support is if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the video. I'd really appreciate that. But let's look at what the team looks like now after really shuffling up this team. I'm kind of liking the team. I do think there are a little bit of risks associated with it, but I do need to take some risks at this point. So one of the risks is going with two 4.0 million keepers, which is generally something I like. There does seem to be probably more value in keeping than what I would have originally thought, but I do like to stay cheap there, especially to get in some of these players. So I have the two starting keepers off of two promoted teams, Falcone and Di Gregorio. Both of them are regularly starting, not getting a whole lot of clean sheets, but Falcone has been getting a lot of save points. So I am going to stick with him and switch out Vicario for Di Gregorio. Probably will start less often, but really it's just going to be which keeper has the better fixture that week, I think. They're facing each other this week, funny enough. So I'm going to go with Lecce over Monza. Lecce seem to be much more sound defensively so far than Monza. So I'm going to go with Falcone in net this week. Along the back line, I have to stick with Theo Hernandez. He's been pretty disappointing so far. He has got one or two attacking returns, but a lot of yellow card accumulation, which is worrisome. I am going to stick with him for now, but he might be someone I end up moving on in the next couple weeks if it doesn't improve to get some money back. And then another very attacking defender for Inter. Dumfries has been doing significantly better for Skriniar, so I tried to pump that extra 0.5 mil in to get Dumfries and some more attacking returns in the Inter line. A little bit of rotation concerns considering they probably want Dumfries more for European games than Serie A right now. But I'm going to stick with him for now. Hopefully he's starting for Inter Milan and Serie A. And with Juventus's good run of fixtures coming up, I did want one defender from Juve. So I'm taking Bremer, who's been starting most games. The other consideration that I had for the Juventus backline was Alexandro, who's maybe a little bit more attacking, but Bremer's looked really solid back there. Alexandro's more of a rotation risk, I think, so I'm sticking with Bremer. My midfield is where things are pretty cheap right now, and that's a little something I'm worried about because I'll generally need two transfers if I'm going to want to switch someone. But I really went with form in the midfield. Generally, I'm someone who really likes fixtures and playing those. Obviously, what I've been doing isn't working, so I do need to switch it up a little bit. So I do want to still be true to myself and stick with fixtures, but add a little bit of form in, and that's where you're finding a player like De La Feu, who and I'm not just based off of a 4-0 Udinese win over Roma, but whenever goals are happening, De La Feu is part of it. Beto is playing really well up there. Bracao, all of the Udinese attack seems threatening right now, and generally De La Feu is part of it. Kvaratskhelia obviously is sticking in the team, especially with his value. It helps keep the costs down. Coop Miners, while Zapata's injured, especially, he's on penalties and he's been starting a lot. So again, that one is he's shown good form recently, but I feel like he's one of the most capable of his form declining at the same rate because he's not necessarily supposed to be an attacking defender. He's more central or defensive. So I could see myself having to move on from that at some point, but I'm happy right now. And Locatelli, who did miss the Champions League game, which is actually good for Serie A. He should be playing in a game against Salernitana, again, with the good fixtures. And he's only a 5.5 million midfielder, and he has started majority of the Serie A games. So I'm happy to have him in my squad as well as my third Juve player. And then I am going big up top. I've got Vlahovic in with captaincy armband right now. Ciro Immobile got my squad. He has been scoring almost a goal per game, so I'm happy to have him in there. And then Arnautovic, who I'm a little overdue getting in, but he has to be in there now, especially with his value. I did at one point when I started making this draft have Vlahovic, Immobile, and Lautaro Martinez. I just think that would leave the rest of the squad too thin at the end of the day. I find this is already a little thin. So I couldn't get Lautaro in there. But the good thing about having Vlahovic and Immobile is it is an easier switch to get to Lautaro Martinez if I wanted at that point. On the bench, like I already said, we have Di Gregorio. I have Diaz in there. Again, rotation risk, I think. So I'm not extremely confident. Actually, I might start him this week. I might figure out a way to fit him in there for this week. Although kind of looking at the teams, I don't know who really right at this moment I would put him in for. So I'll take a pause on that for now, and maybe by the end of the video, we'll figure that out. Or he might just start in first bench position. That's okay as well. Ismaili stays, and I actually don't know how to pronounce this player's name. I think it's Gigi, something like that. I have no idea. If you want to correct me, please drop a comment below the phonetic pronunciation of this Serene defender's name. But the main reason they're in there is a playing 4.0 million defender is what I needed to make the squad work out. I do still have, I think, 0.6 in the bank right now. The big thing is going to be figuring out is if I'm playing Diaz against Sampdoria right now, but I think I like everyone else who's in better at this moment. So I'm going to say that this is how we are kicking off this week. And if I do make the change in the formation, I'll make sure to let you know on Twitter or something. But yes, captaincy goes to Vlahovic against Salernitana. I'm fine. Actually, I'm going to switch vice captaincy to Immobile. Against Verona. And that is looking like how my team is going to shape up this week. Let me know if you're also on a shuffle or wild card and how you lined up and bounce ideas off of each other. I'd say top 5 to have this week with the fixtures. I'm definitely saying Vlahovic is one of them. Lecce has good fixtures too right now. So I would probably say Cisse is another good one to have right now. I believe he's on there. I just want to double check that I'm getting the right player with the right team, that wasn't Cremonese. We got Lecce forwards. Yeah, okay. So Cisse is on Lecce. I sometimes mix him up with Okereke. But I would say he's a really good one to have in right now. Lecce fixtures are really coming into good form right now. I'd also say Falcone is a really good one to have, not just because the really good fixtures coming up, but also his value. So I think that would be a great option. I would say Lautaro Martinez just right now is a fantastic option to have regardless. So that's 4. And then I would say Kvaratskhelia is still one at his value. So Vlahovic, Falcone, Cisse, Kvaratskhelia, and Lautaro Martinez are my top 5 for the week. Let's see how the league has been going with transfers in and out. Kvaratskhelia, Koopmeiners, Arnautovic, all brought into my squad. Udoji, I can understand he's been having in really good form recently. And Rafael Leao, I just don't have the money to have more players like that in my squad. I'd love to have Leao in as well. People have been getting rid of Rebic, Abraham, Osimhen, Jovic, and Milinkovic. Osimhen's in decent form, especially he did, I believe, score 2 goals in the Champions League game over the weekend. So maybe a bit of a wonder there why he's going out, but the rest of them make total sense, I'd say. Other than that, please don't forget to like and subscribe again, and I'll talk to you after the game week. Take care.